That was then Senator. This is now. Very good to
be
have
with
you.
you.
Mug's game, though, it might be, Senator, shutdown tonight or what?
I'm kind of an optimist. I think the government continues to go on, and I think there'll be a short-term continuing resolution for a week or a few days. It's not the answer.
You'd be okay with that?
Well, it's not the answer. You're really the world's largest government, the greatest economy in the world shouldn't run from week to week. But you have to realize how we got here. We got here because the Democrats didn't pass any appropriations bills last year. They didn't pass a budget. And now they're unwilling to recognize that we have to cut spending or we're going to drown in a sea of debt.
So when you see a deal that could probably be in the vicinity of $36 to $38 billion when all is said and done, could you live with that?
No. I mean, the problem is that both the Republican and the Democrat proposals are insignificant. We have a $1.6 trillion debt. And we're talking about cutting 1%. It does nothing. The curve.
Would you vote for that?
No. I mean, I probably won't vote for it.
So it's a given that you're not going to vote for this?
I won't vote for either proposal because neither proposal.
No continuing resolution stands a chance with it?
Because both of the proposals will still incur a deficit of about 1.5 to 1.6 trillion. What I will vote for is a balanced budget amendment, or I will vote for a 5-year plan to balance the budget, or if you really push me 7 years, but I won't vote for 30 years to balance the budget because I don't think we have 30 years. We have to do something now. We increased spending by $700 billion from 2008 to now. $700 billion. We're talking about cutting 30. We're nowhere close to what we need to do.
What about the argument you hear from the other side, Senator? This is last year's news. Budget half over. Don't make a big deal out of it. Focus on the next fight, the next budget, not this fight, this budget. What do you say?
I say if we don't address our debt problem, we could go the way of Greece or Portugal, Ireland, Iceland. A country that gets to a point where they're 100% of their economy is their debt, that's about where we are now. Costs about 1 million jobs a year, costs us about 1% in growth rate, and really imperils the economy. So I'm concerned enough that I'm going to say, look, we have to cut more spending.
Are you going to be concerned, fairly or not, that Republicans could be hit with the "you shut the government down" label?
Yeah, I am concerned with that. And in fact, we have our own bill. I produced a bill today that if nobody comes up with a bill, mine is the Government Prevention of Shutdown Act of 2011. What it does is everybody comes to work, but they get 75% of what they would get as a normal salary. Congressmen and senators get 0. That way, maybe they'll come to the table and we will figure out a solution. But we pay our soldiers, we pay for our employees, we don't shut the government down. Excuse me?
Much support for that?
Well, so far we don't have a lot of good sponsors.
The reason why I asked, Senator, is you came out the gate very early on with a very serious budget cutting measure. $500 billion out the gate. Even then, you told me when you announced it, we'd still be stuck with $1 trillion deficit,
right.
But it was a step in the right direction. You left no cow too sacred. Defense was among the things you cut. You didn't get much Republican support for that. So even within your party, right. It was cold hands.
Well, I tell people there's an inconvenient truth. The inconvenient truth is you cut all non-military spending, you do not balance the budget. You have to cut a little bit of military, and you have to look at entitlements. You have to look at the whole budget, or you get nowhere close to balancing the budget.
What do you think of what Congressman Ryan is doing?
I like some of the ideas with entitlement reform. The problem I have is it balances in 30 years or something. That's too long. I don't think we have 30 years to wait.
You want to do it a lot sooner.
Yeah, we got to cut departments. We have to decide, like Department of Education. Ronald Reagan said, send it to the states. That's where it belongs. And we should have kept it there. But you have to be even more dramatic than Ryan's proposal because I think we'll have a debt crisis before we get to 30 years.
Is it your sense that Tea Partiers are going to be upset after this whole thing, regardless of how it's resolved?
Right. I think the Tea Partiers will remain a force as long as the debt is a problem. You know, Harry Reid says that Tea Party's done for. He says that they blame us for everything, but they still say, oh, it's withering on the vine and you have no more power. But the thing is, the Tea Party arose because of concern for the debt, concern that we're passing the debt to our kids and our grandkids, and concerned that the debt's imminently hurting jobs in the economy.
They're still going to be ticked.
They're going to be ticked, and until we do something.
Yeah. Are they going to take it out on John Boehner?
Well, I think they're seeing that we need to be more bold, all of us, because whether we cut $30 billion or $60 billion, they agree with me, it's not enough. When I tell them $500 billion, they tell me, well, that's a good start. They are very ambitious because they want to balance the budget, See, we have a balanced budget proposal in the Senate, nothing coming out of the House because their budget plan never balances. That's a problem.
But it
So-
doesn't give you much hope, does it? I assume we'll get through this hurdle, like you say, Senator. But we've quibbled over cutting billions. When you say down the road we have to cut trillions, this is not a good warm-up for that.
No, and it really shows you when they went through their battle in the House and they had like 400 amendments, some of the amendments were to cut 10 million, 20 million, 200 million. Nothing compared to what the deficit is.
Right.
And many Republicans fled and wouldn't vote for those. We had a vote to cut 400 million in subsidies for small airports. We couldn't get all the Republicans for it. If you
They
can't
use
cut,
those small airports.
yeah, if you can't cut 400 million, how are you ever going to cut 1.5 trillion?
Last time I had your dad on, and before you on, and both of you on, the prospect is always that he's going to run for president. And you said that if he doesn't run for president, you just might.
We're trying to keep all possibilities open so there will be a Paul on the ballot. You know, it's we can't tell you all of our secrets yet.
All right, but
so
it's fair to say one of the Pauls is running.
I think there's a very good chance there'll be a Paul on the ballot.
Okay. More your dad than you?
Well, you know, I keep looking at his travel schedule, and he's certainly going to Iowa and New
I
Hampshire
noticed
quite a
that. I
bit.
noticed
So that could be a hint. I don't know, but he hasn't told me yet.
Okay, Senator, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Very good seeing
Thank
you.
you.
Rand Paul, one of the early pioneers, if you will, on this cost-cutting effort, who actually put numbers to paper, and boy, was pilloried for it. Nevertheless, this whole debate that's about a budget that isn't a budget, that's all actually with 5 months to go, has ignited a fury here on the Hill. Senator